Hey, good morning, guys. It's Bubba, your favorite diabetic. I don't think that's going to be our. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry about that. I had my speaker system on, um, and I've got to learn that if you're actually broadcasting, you have to make sure you turn off the peripheral sound. Um, that's it's something you got to do. So where was I? Hey, Bubba, favorite diabetic. This is I've got to figure out. I don't. This is theoretically show 3, but in order of actual content, it's show 2. The first one was an intro, and it was really me testing all the equipment. But so we'll call this episode 2 because I don't think all my preferences were set up correctly, that it actually recorded the first Sunday show on Twitch. It did record it on Restream, so I might be able to edit that, but I don't think I can post it to Twitch. And it shows me that I'm live on YouTube. I don't know what that means, and quite honestly, it's still too early for me to try to figure that out and see what's going on there. I'm going to try to get a couple of people to help me one morning and make sure everything is up and ready. Let's do a kind of a recap. So yesterday, we had theoretically the first show, and we did our A1C levels. Actually, the first thing we did was weigh in, and we were at 206 pounds. I'm going to write that down and convert it to metric because occasionally my Australian friends pop up in here, and I don't know if they'll continue to do so. But if they do, I want to make sure the metrics are up there. My A1C level, which I predicted was going to be high. And when I said high, I was thinking 9 would have really been a high number for me. But I was at an 11. Actually, let's be honest, an 11.1. And that 11.1 puts me in a high-end danger zone. I don't have the graph in front of me, but I'll need to find that again. But that, I believe at 11.1, that put me in the 300 zone, up in the 300s. I don't want to misspeak, so it'll take me 3 seconds to look this up because I decided I'm going to keep my phone with me at all times as I'm doing this, because I will tell you, it comes in very handy for looking things up. And I see, totally misspoke. It puts me at 260, 269, 270, 271, somewhere around there. So bad, but not the end of the world bad. But it definitely was showing me that I have, my issue is worse than I thought. The neuropathy that's kicking in was probably not, I don't want to say based on that, but but was definitely a contributor. Those are all things that I have to consider and worry about. The overall shock for me was pretty bad. I was supposed to go and get my eyes checked. That was on the list of things to do at Level Set. I went down there and the doctor was sick. So I went in to sit down, and they have 2 optometrists at this facility. The one that I had an appointment with was sick. I waited for about 30 minutes for my appointment, and no one came up and said, "Hey, who are you here for?" Everything else, and then my appointment time came up, and I walked up to the desk and said, "I'm here to see Dr. So-and-so." And I got to read the rules about whose names and what I mentioned yesterday. Kind of a tangent. Yesterday, I had notifications that part of what I was saying was silenced because of copyright violations. I have no idea what copyright violations I did. I thought I could talk about products and everything here. I don't want to waste my time or your time or anybody's time. So I want to make sure that I'm doing the good work, especially if anybody ends up watching. And if no one ends up watching, then it's just me and it's just talking. But I still don't want to I hate being monitored and stalked for things. So anyway, went to the appointment, got up there, walked up, said, "I'm here to see Dr. So-and-so." They said, "Oh, we're sorry, he's sick today." They were supposed to cancel all his appointments. Didn't get a call, didn't get anything. So I said, "Okay, is the other doctor available?" And they said, "No availability today. We can maybe tomorrow." And I said, "Well, can I make sure I have an appointment for Dr. So-and-so tomorrow?" And it's today. And they said, "We'll put you on there, and hopefully someone will call you and let you know if he doesn't come in." So I'm going to call here in an hour and a half or whatever when they supposedly open and see if he's in today. And hopefully I'm going to get in and get my eyesight checked today. As part, my beard's doing a weird thing today. To see if I can get that taken care of. And then I can add that to the list. But okay. So as far as the weight was concerned, 206 pounds put me not in the overweight area for my BMI. So I was considered overweight. Quite a distance from obese, but in the overweight section. According to them, for my age, my sweet spot is between 32 pounds and 167 pounds. I was thinking about this yesterday after I did the show and I got that BMI index. I don't think I've been sub 170 pounds since I was maybe in the military or maybe in high school. That's pretty low. And so I'm wondering if I'm ever going to get into that perfect range BMI. For me to be doing that at 55 years old and to be able to get down to that weight would be pretty incredible. But we're going to put it on the to-do list to see how we can do it. Then, like I said, the A1C was at that level. We tried Rise Superfoods, Rise Coffee. It's a mushroom coffee mix for the first time. They have some pretty wild claims. I shouldn't say they don't have wild claims. A lot of the people who are their affiliates on Facebook and everything else make some pretty wild claims on what it can do. I do know that lion's mane and some of those mushrooms and everything else, mushroom coffee is really huge now. Lots of froze up for a second. Lots of studies on lion's mane and some of these things on what they could do for you, cognitive skills, things like that. So I've been wanting to really dive into it anyway and see how it does. But there's a lot of these supplements that are claiming that they will help with diabetes, or some of the people, and I'm going to start recording them so I can post them on here. Run them with me. That claim that they've been drinking this coffee and their neuropathy has gone away, and they're drinking this coffee and their sugar levels have gone down. They've been drinking this coffee and whatever. And so I get it. I think it makes a lot of sense. I do believe there are natural remedies for things. Again, I've said this in the last two shows. I don't believe there's a magic bullet. So you can't get this done. But if this helps, then I'm all for trying it. Thought the coffee was pretty good. Rise Superfoods You guys did a fantastic job with the packaging. I showed that yesterday on the Instagram and TikTok, Twitter. Not doing TikTok. And today, we'll get in here in a second, we'll be doing the matcha coffee. I love matcha, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll talk about that. So then the final part of the recap yesterday was talking about me going on a liquid diet, and we'll talk about that. And I did. Yesterday it was the mushroom coffee, and then beef broth for the rest of the day. And we'll go over that here in a couple of minutes. So, all right, let's go ahead and pour myself a cup of coffee. So what we're going to be doing now is the Rise Mushroom Matcha. Now, here it says that more than just a matcha, upgrade your ritual with our matcha blend, packed with 6 functional mushrooms and blue spirulina. I'm going to have to look these up to see what's going on. I don't know what spirulina is. For a superfood-filled boost. Our ceremonial grade organic matcha helps you find Zen-like focus and long-lasting energy so you can be in a blissful state of relaxed alertness all day long. Okay, I'm going to talk about what they mean by ceremonial grade. Inside here is cordyceps, lion's mane, reishi, shiitake, turkey tail, king's trumpet, and matcha. Okay. I'm looking at the rest of the ingredients. Organic mushroom, matcha, Japanese matcha, organic OCT oil, organic coconut milk, organic blue, and Himalaya peak salt. Okay. So it does look like it is 100% natural, contains tree nuts. The tree nuts are the cocoa nuts. Let me see. I want to talk about Rise here in the next couple of days, but I want to give this one a chance first. So we added 1 tablespoon of Rise matcha add 2 ounces of water, stirred froth. Okay, so this is probably going to taste like crap. I'll be honest. I didn't read the instructions first. I wish I had a bigger following on this because this is funny as crap. So this is where the coffee recommended 1 tablespoon for 8 to 10 ounces of water. I did 16 because I wanted to reduce the taste. This one is 1 tablespoon of matcha for 2 ounces of water. 2 ounces. That's a shot glass. I'm going to have to look at this again and redo this again tomorrow. Although I already mixed it. So I'm going to see what it tastes like it is, but this is going to pretty much taste like water. I think for this whole thing. That's going to be kind of sad. That's a waste of a. So once again, it smells like mushrooms. Usually coffee has a coffee smell and matcha has a matcha smell. And, all these coffee drinks just smell like mushrooms. Let me see if I can show what it looks like. So it's a green brown. 4 is my cup. A green brown as opposed to a pure green. Actually, that's not bad. It's got a little bit of a matcha taste, a little bit of that mushroom aftertaste. It is very watered down. I will do it for 2 ounces tomorrow, but that will be my daily cup of coffee. So we're good to go. So we now have our coffee. Now let's kind of talk about some topics of the day. So, way back in the day, I spent a lot of time in the self-reliance business. Worked with the Self-Reliance Expo, did a bunch of shows. We kind of talked about that yesterday. That's how I ended up finding out I was diabetic. Was at a Self-Reliance show, and interestingly enough, one of the main this is how the circle goes around. The one of the big topics in a book that were out was during our time over there was let me see if I can find it. Yeah. So it was called Surviving Venezuela. And the country of Venezuela has been having issues for years. I mean, they go through short periods of times that things go well, and then what ends up happening is everything kind of goes to crap. Their economy goes to crap. And so if you've been watching what's going on right now, it's like they've had an election, and the election supposedly is tainted, and they've been Maduro is he's all over the place. People have been asking for either a recount or things like that, and the Kremlin, the Russians have said that the opposition should just accept the elections. I don't know. Biden's been all over the place. It's been pretty bad, and I feel like this is exactly the position we were in 10 years ago when I was in the Self-Reliance Expo and was diagnosed with diabetes. Not that the diabetes plays any part of Venezuela, and I just like saying it. And nothing changes. It's ridiculous that they're still having the same problems, and it just means one corrupt person after another. One of the things that has always been bad, which it was the inflation. So at its worst, inflation reached over 100,000% in 2018. Okay, that's not a joke. That's a real number. I'm on Reuters site that has every country's inflation over the last 15, 20 years. And so can you imagine, that your inflation is, I'm sorry, I was wrong. It's 1,000,000%. And in the best, right now it's at its potential best, which is inflation's at 50%. And that's that's still pretty bad, right? I mean, we complain here in the US that our inflation rate is anywhere between, I think, like 2.8 and 3.5. Yeah, I don't remember us getting for a long time over 3.5, but I mean, and it's dipped as low as I believe 2.8. But and I really need to do things and get it up there. But when you're talking 50% inflation, 50%, that's crazy. And and then you look at 1,000,000% inflation. Countries like the UK are really stable. They're at about 2%, a solid 2. Right now, I would assume that let's look up Japan. I would guess Japan's probably at 4. But it's Japan's even worse, better than we are, 2.8. So, and looking it up, we are right now at a 3 to a 3.1. So the Japanese getting at 2.8, people, just 50% inflation. I'm having a hard time at our current numbers in the 3s going and buying meat or buying anything at the store because everything seems so outrageously priced. I'm complaining about a $15 or a $20 steak at 50% inflation. Let's a gallon of milk in here, or eggs, or everything else are ridiculous. But can you imagine what they are in Venezuela? That's harsh. Anyway, so then what else do we have in the news? We have apparently Taylor Swift is in complete shock over Southport knife attack. So apparently there was a knife attack that had something to do. I don't know it up there. Trump. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, Trump is entertainment. So Trump says Vance's childless cat ladies comment reflect love of family. Okay, I'm going to have to read that. I don't know how you spin that. When you're talking about if Vance's comment was something about a childless cat ladies, the left does a good job of spinning anything the right says. The right does a great job of spinning anything the left says. That's the game. But it's hard to spin. I mean, that kind of comment's it's funny and it's ridiculous. I mean, yes, there's probably a lot of childless cat ladies out there. I don't know how many of them are Democrat, how many of them are Republican, and how many of them, don't follow any politics and live in a cave with their cats. It doesn't matter. People are people. Everybody's got their opinions. You shouldn't call out a group unless both social media has found this out. The government's known this for years, and they still are idiots and keep doing it. But why call out a group and then have everybody flame you and cause more? It's misdirection, right? We don't want to talk about the real topic, so what we do is we throw shade on a different group, and then that group gets all up in arms, and we get to say, I need glasses anyway. They're all tweaked, or my head's cockeyed. They go out and say, hey, look, they said this about us, and then no one talks about the topics. So Vance, stop throwing shade on people and stop making stupid comments. You're not Dan Quayle. Please don't say that dinosaurs lived 1,000 years ago. We need to be smarter. The world is watching us when we make stupid comments and we have this kind of infighting. It doesn't matter who wins, Democrats or Republicans. It just makes the country look stupid. And I'm tired of traveling, and I do a lot of traveling nationally and internationally with my team. And I'm tired of everybody thinking we're idiots. Yeah. I may be an idiot. You may be an idiot. But the whole entire country is not filled with idiots. Our president may be an idiot. Future president might be an idiot. Okay, maybe we are idiots. I don't know. So, if I had people on here that wanted to talk about this stuff, the other big thing that's kind of a interesting thing, the Asian stock market, I tend to watch it. I have another screen here that kind of watches the different stock markets. China's got some concerns about the trade industry. When that happens, and everybody's worried about potential presidential things here in the United States. If people are worried about the economy, especially here in the United States, UK, the big guys, The numbers go all over the place on the stock market because it kind of gives you an indicator of good Christmas, bad Christmas, what's going on. And it looks like there might be some concern that the economy is not going to be getting better. You're seeing things like Japan inflation surges. Okay, what is a surge? It's at it went up 0.3%. That I don't know if that's a surge. To me, that's a wobble. I don't even know if it qualifies as a wobble. It might be a ripple. It's so little. It's definitely not a wave, and it's not a tsunami. But I don't. Maybe things wouldn't be. Maybe it wouldn't be anything. Oh wait. Okay, I just got sent a note from someone saying your numbers are old. In June and July, it hit 2.8%. So rising 0.6% in a single month. Okay. If that's accurate, if that's an accurate statistic, then maybe it's a ripple, right? I mean, that's pretty big. I wouldn't call that a surge. If a full percentage point might be looking like a surge, right? That's a big jump in a month or in a period of time. Oh, especially, I mean, in a year, if it went up gradually, you would say that, there was a major movement for the year. 0.6% or almost a percentage point in a single month. That's getting close to a surge. I would say definition surge, 1 point. Still not 50% though. Still not 50%. So let's talk about the liquid diet yesterday. Let's kind of segue into the liquid diet. Again, guys, I'm not going to be playing any games or anything on this show. Literally, if you come on and join me, this is the kind of thing that you put on, turn up the volume, or have your AirPods in and just listen to. You don't want to be looking at this mug forever. I'm not going to be singing, dancing, showing my boobs. Nothing really cool here to see. So, but the topics that we want to cover, I hope, are reasonable. And then I'm really not doing this for the Twitch. I'm doing this so I can start figuring out how all this works and mostly post YouTubes because I think YouTubes are more conductive for everybody. So, so the bone broth. So yesterday, so I went in, I made my own bone broth. I went down, got my bones, roasted them, put them inside the oven, roasted them real good, put them inside a stock pot, mix it up, made about 12, 16 ounce jars of a bone broth. And you can store that. If I'm going to store bone broth for long periods of time, what I do is I actually throw it in Ziploc baggies and then freeze it. That's how I handle it. There are ways to can your stock and keep it shelf stable. I have never done it. I've heard people doing it. I'm not a big canner myself. I have lots of family that does canning. The 1 or 2 times back in my self-reliance days that I tried canning myself, I screwed something up and the seals slightly broke and everything was bad when I opened it up later. And so only my jams survived. And the jams, because you put a wax seal over it before you seal it, and that helps keep it out. All my jams survived, but none of the pickles or anything else that I did survived. But I have stuff on my shelf from family members that have been there for years, and I can still open a can and they're as fresh as they are today. So I would be worried about making bone stock and trying to can it. So if we get our beef at the beginning of the year for the entire year and I get all the bones, I try to make several massive things of bone stock, and then break it up into Ziploc baggies and freeze it. And you can pull it out anytime. You heat it up, breaks down really great, makes great soup stock, everything else. For a cleanse like I'm doing now, which for those of you who haven't watched the past shows, I am currently on a 7-day liquid diet cleanse. It's part of the reset of what I'm doing. I've been reading a lot of studies. When I first got diabetes and I decided I was going to try to beat it, one of the recommendations was to do a 7-day liquid diet to kind of try to reset your body before you started really trying to lose weight and take everything on. It was very hard the first time. And this time around, it is equally as difficult. It's always difficult. I usually do 3 to 5 days every year as just part of maintenance. But it's never easy at the beginning because you're used to having whatever you eat, certain quantities, certain times, everything else. When you're now looking at 7 days, it already seems like, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to make it. But there's studies out there now that say that you can this is just a reset. This does not make diabetes go away. This does not drop your A1C by tremendous levels. So if you do this once a year, you're good to go. This is a standard liquid diet that they use before doing any sort of intestinal surgery or certain types of surgery to make sure your body's cleansed of things and everything else. It's just you trying to get rid of the excess sugars, excess materials, things that are inside your system that are already unhealthy for you, so that when you do start your regimen, whatever it is, you're giving it the best opportunity to take hold and start affecting you, because you've gotten rid of all the bad things or most of the bad things or some of the bad things that your body already has. It's kind of like detoxifying, right? There's all kinds of things out there that people detoxify, things like that. And so it's very similar, right? You drink lots of water. You make sure you try to keep on an all liquid diet. You keep your sugars in a low. You try to do all this stuff. Your body's going to pass everything. It's going to react really odd. At the end of 7 days, then you start working your way back up and you try to start eating a healthier lifestyle and you monitor everything, which is why I did a base level on everything. There are studies now out of Germany and Sweden, and it's always out of Europe because Americans don't seem to want to, don't really care about their diabetes. Everybody says they do, but all you do is stick a needle in your arm or put a pump in your body and let the insulin that they give you or the chemicals they give you do all the work. That's not really taking care of diabetes. But I'm not judging anybody. I'm just saying, America is the easy road. Give me a pill, give me a shot, and then let me get back to binging my Netflix. But, which I've got a show I've got to binge. So no judgment. So the studies showed, and I'm actually going to pull up the study and we'll talk about it this week. The study says, don't quote me on numbers, they took like 60 people, 2 groups of 60. One group of 60 stayed on their normal medically approved regimen for their diabetes. The second group went and did get this, 12 weeks. So that's 90 days, right? Approximately 12 weeks on this liquid diet, nothing else. And the results were that a majority, and again, I don't want to quote the numbers, but I want to say it was over 60% of the people had a complete reset of their diabetes. So kind of the result I had 10 years ago when I did this, but I didn't do 90 days of this liquid diet. I don't know if I could do 90 days of this liquid diet. I did this 7-day reset, and then I cut out most carbs, most sugars, soda, alcohol, a bunch of different things, and my body went into a reset, and my A1C dropped down to low 7s, mid 6s, or high 6s. So I was pre-diabetic, and I remained there for a lot of years and have been pretty healthy since then. I watched a seminar yesterday also on this where a doctor was talking about it, and a doctor said, even if you have to look at it as cancer, or you have to look at it as being an alcoholic. And I thought that was an interesting take on this, and I'm going to kind of adopt this. And the statement was, once you're an alcoholic, once you've been diagnosed as an alcoholic, and you stated you're an alcoholic, once you're an addict, you're always an addict. You're an addict in recovery, right? If you no longer do anything. But it doesn't make a difference if you were an alcoholic in your 20s and it was really bad, and then you went and for the next 20 years you haven't had a drink, you're still an alcoholic. You're just an alcoholic in recovery. Or it's like being a cancer patient. No one is ever 100% cancer free. Yeah, they like to use the term cancer free. But it's like once you have cancer, you can go into remission, or you can have where you're not, it feels like they got everything and there's nothing there, but your body has had cancer in it, and there's the ability for it to reproduce a different cancer, or for cancer to come back. It's there, right? It becomes part of your biology. And so, hi, my name is Bubba Da Vinci, aka Scott Valencia. See, I switched that thing, and I'm a diabetic. So the thing is that it never goes away. It never goes away. And even if I get it to where I get it under control, or like in this, where they said these studies show that they reset it and that your diabetes is at a pre-diabetic level, or doesn't even show your A1C, it resets it to pre-diabetic, so not as a non-diabetic. It's still there. And it doesn't make a difference what triggers it. Just kind of like what just happened to me. 10 years later, here I am in Peru, and boom. Every symptom that I had before, and things just start going to shit. I think I can almost make the mushroom matcha coffee taste like matcha. I mean, I think I can get there. This is better than the coffee yesterday. It's more bearable. So yeah, we have to, these studies, everything else. So going back to, did the bone broth. When I do this, and I'm sorry, I'm rabbit hole central. If there's a rabbit hole, I'm going to go down it. So I really need to get some people to start watching me and following me that are going to keep me on track. Just to be 100% candid, the 3 people that are watching me now are either family or work for me, and they're doing it so I can actually test, go to their computers and see what's going on, make sure things are working. I have no real followers yet. So when I do the bone broth, when I'm doing a purge, a fast, a whatever you want to call it. I've been corrected so many times over the last 2 weeks when I say I'm doing a liquid diet. Oh, you're doing a purge. Oh, you're doing a fast. Oh, you should try an enema. Oh, whatever. I mean, it's like everybody's got an opinion. And I like to make that stock fresh, even though I may have some in the freezer. It's always good to make a fresh stock, because your vitamins and your minerals and everything else are going to be at their freshest. They're going to be right there. It's going to be, you're in. And I'm, again, not a scientist, not a doctor, not a lawyer. I don't know how much that the minerals and everything fade over time by sitting in the freezer. I mean, everything degrades. Even medication. I can get medication today from the doctor, and if I leave it on the shelf for 2 years, it'll say it's less effective by 50%. So now you got to take two, right? And then it's now it's so everything has a shelf life, everything has a date. That doesn't mean the stuff in the freezer isn't healthy. It's much healthier than going and buying something at the grocery store. I guarantee it. And it keeps all its flavor. I'm just not sure from nutritional value standpoint if how much of it is still good. I'm going to actually start taking additional notes. I'm going to try to put up a pad on a section of my screen for ideas, because I think that would be a great thing to find out, which is have someone come on that's an expert on nutritional reduction. I don't know. How things, when they're processed, and taking it, making it, putting it in the freezer is processing. It's not the same sort of processing as your Kraft cheese singles or things like that. But anytime you take an original product and change it into something else, that's processing. And then going out and seeing, asking questions like that. Yeah, people like to talk. There's a million YouTubes. If I can come up with these topics and write them down, I'm sure I can find someone on YouTube that is more knowledgeable than I am. And I'm sure I can find experts eventually if I can get my numbers high enough on the show that will be willing to come on and give me their wisdom. And so I think I need cooler glasses. Now that I'm looking at this, I need better glasses for being on YouTube. So make my fresh broth, everything else. So yesterday, I really did go down a rabbit hole. Yesterday, I did my first 16 ounces at lunch, a little after lunch, about 1:00. And I have to tell you, I drink water. I try to drink water all the time when I'm eating, like pre-yesterday's reset. And I drank a significant amount of water because I like to stay hydrated. When you are on a liquid diet, your hydration goes in the toilet. I think I talked about this on the pre-event on Sunday. There is a direct link between anybody on any sort of medication or any sort of health issues and needing good hydration. Diabetics need a really good hydration schedule, especially if you're on insulin and things like that. But your body needs the hydration to help your organs process everything. And if it gets too extreme, then it flushes that stuff right out your system. And if you don't have enough water, you get dehydrated, things start shutting down. It is not good. I think most people live in some state of dehydration. Again, need an expert. And it's an issue. But I try to stay hydrated all the time. When you go to a liquid diet and your main source of food is liquid, you do not want to drink the extra amount of water that you need in order to stay hydrated. Coffee, yes, it's a liquid, but the caffeine, it's a dehydrating source. So you can get dehydrated just drinking coffee, right? Fruit juices and things like that. Well, they will help hydrate you and everything else. There is nothing as good as straight H2O for keeping your body, at a satisfied level with water. And the second thing that you're missing is you bring in a lot of nutrients, minerals, your electrolytes, everything else which your body needs to function through your eating habits. And when you're going on a liquid diet, if there's not enough in there and then you are not getting them from other sources, your hydration level goes to crap. So let me finish the story about the other thing, and I'll talk about what's going on with my body. So did the first one at lunch, tasted fine, tasted like beef broth. You can only, I haven't learned to do chicken broth yet, chicken bone broth. That is a thing. I think it probably has to be done with more machines. I don't know how much marrow and fat is in chicken bones. I've been wanting to research it and do it. I know someone that does do their own chicken bone broth, and it is amazing as a stock. And I've always liked it. I'm hesitant to buy any of these bone broths, for trying to stay away from the chemicals and things like that they use as stabilizers. But that would be great to do. Vegetable stock, super easy to do, but I'm not good at mixing the flavors to make it not taste bitter or horrible. Maybe I can get someone that's a vegetarian show to come on here and talk to me about that. And then pork stock is a thing, and so is fish stock. All these stocks I want to learn how to do, but it adds at least a little variety to what you're doing. And I don't necessarily want to become a cooking show, but we do. I have been in the restaurant business. Well, that's a whole nother segue. I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but so I do like to cook, and I don't mind making this stuff myself. But I don't know if I could drink beef bone broth for 7 days, 3 times a day, and not just be ready to put a bullet in my head. So what I do tend to do is I start adding flavors. So I take my main jars, and then what I'll do is I'll mark them and I'll put things in them. So then what I'll do is I'll take the beef bone broth, put it back into a pot. I usually do a minimum of 2 jars. And then I will put mushrooms and bell peppers and vegetables in it, boil it up again, top it off a little bit so I get my 2 jars back, or maybe even a little bit more. And then that adds flavor to it. And then you strain out all the vegetables and everything else. You throw those away or give them to your goats, which I have goats, or give it to the family members to have with their meal. And then you get flavor in with the beef broth. And I'm usually far enough ahead of this that what I'll do is I will have multiple varieties of broth that I can mix and match during the week, so I'm not getting all the same flavors. I did not do that this time around. I came up with this idea. I've been talking about it. I rushed to make my bone broth, and then we have other shows that we're doing. We're traveling, everything else, and so I did not do a good job of getting this done. So at dinner last night, so you guys know I do 16 ounces at lunch of bone broth, which is 2 cups. And then at dinner, I usually go up to 18 or 24. I'm used to a bigger dinner, and so I want to make sure I'm full before I go to sleep. And so that there's a larger quantity of that inside there. I use ball mason jars as part of it, and you can microwave those things to heat it back up. You can put on a pot of boiling water and just put the whole thing inside the boiling water and break it down that way. You can pour it in a pot. I don't like dirtying extra pots if I don't need to. Either I have to clean them or someone else has to clean them. So if I'm just making it for a quick lunch, taking a balls jar and taking the lid off and throwing it into a microwave. If you don't mind microwaves, there are people that don't like this, swear that microwaves are bad for you, kills the nutrients. Just put it inside a thing of boiling water, and the boiling water doesn't dirty the pan or dirty the pot, and so you can just boil it and then go out there. On hot days like yesterday at 100 degrees, I was out working and I actually put the jar out in the sun, and the sun broke down all the stuff that kind of solidified and heated it up, and I shook it up and I just drank it like that, which was fine. Left the lid on, screwed it in, just put it out there. Because I do refrigerate it. Once you put it in the balls jar, since it's not shelf stable and I don't want to put it in the freezer, my fridge has all these jars lined up in it that I can just grab one and go. So love balls jars, reusable. Great way to cook everything up or reheat everything. It's already pre-measured, grab and go. And they have different sizes, so you could do, depending on how much quantity you want to eat or style. I have one size for lunches, one size is for dinners, and then I kind of go there. So anyway, I did my lunch one, said, okay, beef broth. Dinner one, I went ahead, took a jar, put it in a pot, and did up a bunch of vegetables and everything else and cooked them in there, let it simmer, got all the good flavors, put in my spices, and then took everything out, and then I drank that for dinner. While that works fine, and if you are more of a I like to cook dinner every night person, that might work great for you, because then you can open up your fridge and figure out what you want to do for your flavors. For me, I would have rather have done a full, like a stock pot, and then use those vegetables, put everything in there, and then just had that as my broth ready to go. I am usually between my meetings in the evening and then other things that I have to do, taking care of animals, taking care of chores and things like that. I'm not the person who cooks dinner, and I just grab, if someone else is cooked or people are going out and grabbing stuff, they bring it back, I eat it, and I keep going. That's just kind of my lifestyle. But I may, over this 7 days, in order, since I did not do that and I only have broth, I may have to go and get a bunch of stuff and then mix it every night for dinner. That might actually slow down my lifestyle a little bit. It might be a good thing. So that's what I did. I will tell you, you feel full. So I did my dinner. I made my soup. I made broth. Sat down, read emails, watched a little TV, drank it. And I have a photo on Instagram of what a jar looks like. If you want to go to our Insta, Insta's just at ogbubbadavinci.com. And I was full. I was like, okay, I'll take a shower. I'm going to crash. I'm going to go to sleep. Your stomach, and about 30 minutes later, your body goes, you didn't really eat. There's nothing in your intestines. It all just passed through. There's part of what you do when you eat is your digestion process. Your food gets in there, and it's a slow process while it digests that food and turns it into energy and everything else that you need. And there's a trigger in your body that says you are full. You have eaten everything. You're digesting it. You are satisfied, good to go. When you trick it with liquids, it lets you know in the worst way. I mean, about 30 minutes later, you could hear the gurgling of my stomach probably outside the house. It was so loud. It was annoying to me. And you could feel it. It's your body. Now, it's two things, probably multiple things. Again, not a doctor. Your body is process that liquid, is grabbing as much nutrients as it can. It goes through your, whatever. But your body is now so I guess it is at least two things. It's going through and trying to get rid of or finish anything that is still stuck or in your intestinal tract from prior to this. It's still pushing things through. It's still going through and eating things. It's still doing everything that it's going to do. You're clearing your track. Think about a water hose that's rolled up and you turn it on. The water comes out. But when you stop, the water eventually stops, but there's still water left in that hose. And unless you roll it out and everything else, that water is going to stay on the hose until you put that water on again. And then it's going to push out the old stuff and the water is going to flow again. So you've always got water trapped in that hose unless you have something that pushes it through, which is the new water, which is what I'm doing with the liquid diet. Is I am still eating, I am still pushing stuff through. It's just all liquid, and it's flushing the system, and it's pushing things out that are in your body. The second thing it's doing is, or the third thing I guess this would be, is that it's when the body feels like, oh my God, all he's doing is drinking something, I'm starving, it is going to start eating you. Meaning that fat that is trapped around your organs, body fat, anything else, your body starts consuming the stored material in your body in order to feed itself, because it believes that what you're putting through it is, because your body has been trained that you're going to eat a quarter pounder with cheese and a steak and whatever your daily meals are. It believes that that's what it's going to get. And it has been trained to take that product and try to grab nutrients from it which we all know the nutrient levels of most of that stuff is not great, and to keep you going, and then store whatever's left over in your body. So if you don't get enough, that it'll do it. So this is bad fats and bad everything else. So it's storing and you're getting bigger. And then, then that's what it's been trained to do. And so you're kind of retraining it. You're convincing, at some point your body's going to go, oh my God, I'm starving. And it's going to start eating that away. Kind of what the reset is. Now, the people who are doing these diets for 90 days, what they're basically doing is they are trying to get their body to get rid of everything, to get you down to lean mass on your muscle, to get you lean around your organs, to get rid of all that stuff. And 90 days apparently is a good number for getting your body to consume all the bad stuff that's being stored in your body. Then after that, whether they stay on the diets or not, I haven't read whether they continued on with the diets after they left. I don't think that would be healthy, but let's say they do. The job of the diabetic after that is that doesn't mean at that point you can't eat cake or you can't eat sugar or you can't do things. You have to understand how your body operates in order to balance everything out. Can you have sugar? Yes, little amounts, not gross amounts. And you should try not to have processed sugar. You should have pure sugars. But then if you eat a fiber cancels out sugar, right? And so your body goes, oh, okay, here's a little bit of sugar. This is going to do this, but the fiber needs sugar to help digest it, burn it. Okay, so I guess I'm going to call it sugar neutral as far as your body's concerned. You need to start working out. When you work out, you create lean body mass. And lean body mass utilizes water, burns sugar effectively, those carbs. The muscle needs carbs in order to operate. If they are not processed carbs, they're good carbs, then your body will absorb them and use them to stay strong and stay fit. And then you won't have the excess crap in your body. So anyway, my body was really acting up yesterday. I got up this morning and I felt like I hadn't eaten in days. This is day 2. So the only thing I'm having for breakfast, mushroom coffee. Tomorrow I will start shakes. So normally my routine after the first 2 days is a really good shake, usually a juice shake. So I think I talked about this briefly yesterday. It's a bunch of fruit, strawberries, watermelon, all that stuff inside it. Blend it up, press it out, try to get just all the juices, none of the pulp. Although the pulps, believe it or not, for a liquid diet, you can eat watermelon. That's okay. That's mostly water and the pulp doesn't affect anything. If I were doing this for a surgery and they wanted to make sure there was no particles in there, you shouldn't do that. But like cherries and anything with the skin, I try to get all that out. A little banana, a little bit of yogurt. This is not a clear diet. It's just a liquid diet. So I can do a little bit of oat milk or coconut milk, or Greek yogurt is really good for diabetics. So I do a liquid, more of a liquefied Greek yogurt. Mix that up, and that's my shake. That's very filling, and with my coffee, feel very fulfilled. Lunch will be broth. Dinner is broth. And then if I was going to do this longer, I'd probably follow it up with a Jello. And there's a way, I wouldn't buy Jello, but I would take some of that fruit juice I make in the morning and things like that. And there's a way to get gelatin, all natural vegan gelatin, and solidify that. And all you're trying to do is satisfy that urge of making it feel like something hit your stomach. But as soon as it hits your stomach, it dissolves. I mean, this stuff dissolves way too easy. As soon as you take it out of the refrigerator to eat it, if you wait too long, you just have a bowl of juice. So freezing it works really well too. That's how I got through this the first time, which is I froze a lot of juices to be able to eat almost like an ice cream. So at least it felt like I was getting something on my palate and swallowing it, and it hit my stomach as almost a solid piece and made it a little bit easier than constantly drinking. So day 1, made it. I'm alive. Day 2, stomach was grumbling quite a bit. I can already realize it's going to affect the bathroom. Urination is going to change. You're going to have all kinds of smells, things like that, because your body is just purging everything. And then, same thing with your bowels. Don't get alarmed when things look really strange, because you're going to be getting rid of byproduct that you've had in your body for a long time. I'm a little bit concerned about today. A lot of meetings, and I do have to do some outside work. Day 2 and day 3 of liquid diets, your body gives you a sense of lower energy because it thinks it's starving. So it doesn't want you to work that hard. You'll get over it. Usually by day 3 or day 4, I'm out and I can do anything I was doing during the day before and actually feel pretty good, because your body's realizing, okay, I think I have enough to survive, and you're working. And it actually becomes a pretty good feeling. By the time you hit day 5 or day 7, you're actually feeling pretty good, but you're ready for a pizza. That's kind of how thought process works. Additionally, I talked about having Billy Lutz on. Billy Lutz is mostly known for Pokemon Go, aka Trainer Club. I believe we've kind of set things up. I'm going to ask him to come on. So Billy, by education, it has a degree in like nutrition, or I'll let him say it, but he's actually gone to college to study how to work with the body healthfully and everything else. He attempted to do that stuff on YouTube. He was going to go into the medical profession, decided he wanted to kind of do social media, and what ended up being bigger than any of his other stuff? Pokemon Go. So huge in the Pokemon Go community. We've been working together on some of his other hobbies. We'd like to get him back into helping people like me. Billy did at a very critical time in about the last 2 years come in, and I thought I was eating pretty healthy, and my family was eating pretty healthy. One of my daughters had a surgery, and she wasn't recovering very fast. Billy gave us some recommendations on how to change how we eat, going from just what we thought was healthy and less processed food to actually going more organic and eating more of an organic lifestyle to get that extra vitamins and minerals and things like that. And I and my daughters saw a remarkable change in our bodies by doing so. I don't know if I could ever go vegan. I don't think I could, I love my meat. I love these things. I think it's a healthy way to go is to go more vegan products and getting a bigger portion of the vegan lifestyle into your thing and moderating your meat, especially as you get older. But it's a difficult process. But anyway, Billy kind of helped us through that. I've asked him to come on to talk about, as I get back into food, what things I should be looking at and, how I could potentially do this. He's interested in what's going on with my diabetes. And I also, every time I think I get a good product, because we travel together, and I'll say, oh, I bought these very healthy snacks or bars or whatever at Whole Foods or at this market, and this is for our trip. And he'll flip it over and look in the back and say, yeah, I can't eat that because it's got this in it. And it's usually some stabilizing chemical, something, blah, blah, blah. And then he gives me the research and you're like, oh, wow, yeah, I can see why you wouldn't want to put that in your body. So 2 things. Number 1 is I need by probably tomorrow to start taking a protein shake as well. I'm going to start missing things and everything else. So that's by Wednesday, it'll be shake in the morning, but not a protein shake. In the afternoon, it will be my broth. My snack will be a protein shake, and then dinner will be another broth. And that's kind of, because your body's kind of going through things and it's all liquid, you want to kind of do things. So, I've always looked at things like Owen. Okay. Owen has all these stamps of approval. It's 100% gluten-free, 100% vegan, supposedly all natural. It has 5 grams of net carbs, 3 grams of fiber. It does have in it 4 grams of sugar, but it says this brand says it's sugar neutral, not sugar free, sugar neutral, because the fiber and the sugar cancel each other out. Okay. Now, Owen does make a sugar-free version of all this with like a stevia and things like that, but I kind of balance them out because they have different flavors and things like this. This is normally what I would do, okay, to kind of keep myself going. The question becomes when I talk with Billy and I have him pull one of these up to see if he can come up and help me find a better product than something like this. These are all over the stores. I mean, you go to the store now, everybody's got muscle milk, everybody's got some sort of fiber. Is whey protein better than peanut protein? Or is it better than such and such a protein? So I'm going to challenge Billy to help do the research for me, the diabetic, on what's the best sort of protein. Is it better to go with a stevia or a monk sugar or something that is a natural organic sugar and have fiber cancel it out? Or I did that wrong. Is it better to go with a sugar like monk sugar or whatever, just not a processed sugar, and have fiber cancel it out? Or is it better to go with a sugar substitute like a stevia, which can be, there are organic stevias, it's a leaf and it's a sweetener, and then go with something like that? Or is it better? I haven't found one yet. I think I found it in powder source, but I haven't found it in liquid source. Is it better to go with something that has 0 sugars in it altogether? So they don't have a processed sugar, they don't have a natural granulated or natural sugar like monk fruit, and they don't have a stevia. It's just pure proteins. And if you wanted to put a sugar in, you have to do it yourself. My coffee. Not sugar neutral, not sugar free. There's just no sugar in this. And if I want to add anything, I have to make that choice. Monk fruit, honey, whatever, based on your situation. That's what I've got to figure out. So I'm going to ask Billy if he has any recommendations. Billy's eating habits are pretty freaking healthy. So if he's not diabetic, but my hope is that he will have a solution, or be able to do the research to find a solution for me. In the meantime, starting tomorrow, I'll be drinking these while I keep marching on my 7 days. If Billy comes up with a solution, great. If he doesn't, the last thing is, besides having to get protein and everything in my body, I've got to find a way to replace my minerals and electrolytes. Again, lots of products on the market. Most of the minerals and electrolytes come from bad sources. You can tell kind of by the thing. So this is a whole show, but electrolytes, minerals, things like that, they're sourced, they're mined. And just like salt or things like that, there's a time period it gets done and it's graded. So you can go, and I can use salt, right? Yeah, there's the salt that you put on the road. For those of you who've lived in icy areas, you salt your road in order to melt the ice and everything else. And that is salt. Sometimes it's a chemical, but a lot of the time it's salt. And that is commercial grade salt. Sometimes it's iodized, has iodine in it. Martin salt has iodine in it because you need a little bit of iodine in your diet. But natural salt, they mine it, they bring it out, they pack it, they grade it. This is industrial, which is probably, if you were to mine it, it's probably a majority of what you get. It's like diamonds. The number of diamonds that you get that are industrial diamonds, that you use diamonds in so many things you don't even know it, compared to fine diamonds that you buy for jewelry or use for certain types of lasers and things, it's different. And so the thought process in this is, with your minerals, it's kind of the same thing. And a lot of these companies buy the cheapest processed minerals that you can possibly get. And it's the value of it isn't the problem. It's how healthy it is for you and what you're actually getting out of it, right? So the best minerals and the best let's just say best minerals, the best things that you need, are out there, but they're a little bit more expensive, and you have to kind of look and see what you're buying and things like that. But you need them. As on this liquid diet, I'm getting very little of those minerals and electrolytes and everything else, probably almost none out of the shakes and the broths. Your body's going to crave them, and I had that happen last night. I felt like a giant cramp, calves, thighs, arms, neck. I was getting cramps all over my body because my body was saying, you don't have enough minerals or electrolytes or potassium in your body. I'm a 1 banana a day guy. I eat a banana every day for the potassium. I drink things that have electrolytes or minerals in them. I am a mineral. I'm usually pretty good. And I go to events and I do other things to make sure that I keep that up so I don't sweat everything out. I only did 1.5 days of this liquid diet, and my body was like, where is all the shit? I'm missing things. Now, again, the shake it has sodium in it, so I'll pick up some of the sodium. And it has 1% of my need for potassium. It has some calcium. It has no vitamin D, and it has a little iron. So I'm still not getting electrolytes or anything in here. I'm getting a couple of minerals, but I'm getting nothing there. There is nothing in the coffee. And the bone broth, I can probably look up the nutritional values of bone broth, and it will have some of the things I need, but it's probably less than 1% of my daily allowance. So you normally get that in the foods you eat, even if it's processed food. If every one of them has 10 or 15%, by the time you're done with your day, you're hopefully getting 100% of your nutritional value of what your body needs. When you take all that away, cramps. You have issues with your body going, where is the stuff that I need? So the other thing I need to start figuring out, and I may ask Billy about it, I need to find a mineral replacement thing. I don't like taking the pills. I feel like they just shoot right out your body. So today I'm going to go out and start looking at the stuff that's out there on the market. I'll actually I usually buy from Amazon or buy direct from the source, but I like to get it in my hands and look at it. I'll do some research on like Men's Health and different places to see who recommends it. There's a couple of good websites that are vegan websites for vegans. Vegans definitely need to make sure they're taking their supplementations and things like that. And so I'll take all that into consideration and see if I can find something. And then I'll let you know. Because as I continue this on, that is a very important thing. But I've said it multiple times. Hydration for diabetics, super important. And I was not drinking enough water because I'm drinking liquids and I just don't want to put more liquids in my body. Just feels like horrible. And then I need to get the minerals and everything done. So anyway, right now I'm thinking Thursday, I'll have Billy Lutz on and have him talk. And I'll let you know how that goes once I talk to him today and see if that availability works for him. And then I'm getting ready for a road trip. That's always the killer for diabetics when they're traveling and they're eating healthy. So I'm going to prepare for that. I'll be on the road 4 or 5 days. And then I want to prepare for that and make sure I'm eating a healthy lifestyle. It'll be a little easier with my traveling companions because they both prefer eating healthy. And luckily, by the time I travel, I will be able to start eating solid foods again. But when you are on a liquid diet or you are on any sort of diet, but when you're trying to get healthy, you don't want to make people around you feel bad by making them go, oh yeah, well, I can't eat that food, so don't get a pizza. You have to start building up your willpower. It's kind of like being an alcoholic and then telling people around you they can't drink. Now, you can choose not to go to a bar or things like that, but your issues should not become other people's issues. And so you have to either learn to how to take yourself out of that situation and say, I apologize. It's hard for me to be there because of these things happening, but I don't want to change everybody else's fun. You guys go do it. Thank you. Take yourself out. Or you have to have enough willpower that you can go there and watch other people. And something, be happy for other people being able to live their best lives also. And you do you. Right. All right. I think that's it for today. Tomorrow I may do my first weigh-in. I didn't weigh in today because it doesn't make sense to do that on day one. Because my body's going to fluctuate. Yeah, I was thinking originally I'd do the weigh-in on Fridays, and I'd also test my blood sugar on Fridays. Again, testing the blood sugar on a meter, I can fake it. I can make sure that there's enough time between when I go to bed and when I actually do the test here that my numbers will look great. With an average in the 200s, I don't want to be hitting that. And so I'm trying to figure out whether I test 3 times a day. So after I've eaten the bone broth and kind of show how my body's being affected by what I'm consuming. And then recording that on my phone and then showing it here. That may be handy. But right now, no one's watching. So I'll figure that as I go. I hit the hour mark. The goal is to get 8 hours done this week. So actually that's checked off on the Twitch bar. So I may do a little more streaming outside of this just to hit that 8 hours. And then my next goal will be to get my average numbers to where they need to be. And then I need to get to 50 people following. So if you guys watch this later, thanks for watching. If you're a diabetic, if you either are a diabetic or someone that's diabetic and you think this is going to be helpful, and it'll be helpful me hearing other people that have the issue and what they're going through so I can address it. Right now, I can only address what I'm going through, which is me trying to get back on track so I don't lose a toe and I get my lifestyle back in order so I can be here longer. All right. All right. Cheers. We'll talk to you later. And peace. No, it's horrible. Yes, you